certainly been a while since we've done an episode of our Rewind, hasn't it? Almost 3 months since the last one I did with Jeff Russ on that Virus, the game promotion. But anyway, here we are back again. And I've got my IBM PS1, the 2011 here, that's got the 286 in it. And we're actually looking at an interesting virus today that's well known, but not that widespread back in the day, called Casino. And it's one of these viruses that literally puts your data on the line and interacts with the user, making you essentially play a slot machine to win back your data, and we'll see how it puts that on the line here. So we can see here on the PS1 we have a valid disk here with DOS installed on it with our DOS directory. We can go back and check a couple of other things, and we can see you got Microsoft Works and all the other things. Since we got the stock IBM PS1 DOS installation here on the 2011, and I can even back out to the graphical display. Let me turn this down some because our iris doesn't like that, and we can very clearly see that everything is quite accessible on there. So let's go back to DOS. Bring the contrast back up. Go. Let me bring that brightness down. There. Hopefully that's showing well. So let's go back to, let's go to DOS 2, because that's where we have the Casino virus located. And we do have our 60 Hz refresh program running, by the way. So we've got no flickering to deal with, at least for now. So we see on the top there, you can see Casino. I'm also going to very quickly change the date here to, well, how about the 17th of January? Because Casino's activation is January, I think April, and also August, and it's the 15th of those months when it activates. It won't activate any other day or any other month outside of those three. So let's go ahead and load up Casino. Get a little printout there, and now Casino has loaded into memory and is staying resident. So it is a TSR, terminate stay resident, and hooks interrupt 21H like most other viruses that are TSR, and it's going to infect all .coms and .exes that we run from here on. And it is stealthy, so we're not going to see a size increase of the files itself, but we will see a decrease of the overall disk space. So we got format.com there. Of course, we see it's 22,987 bytes, so we can see the bytes free at the bottom of the directory listing. If we go ahead and run format, a little bit of a delay as it infects it. Show it again, and we still have the same size on the program, but we see that our bytes free has gone down. Same thing again, as I say, applies to executables. So we can look at xcopy, which we see is 17,087. We run xcopy and then look at it again. It still thinks it's the same size, but we still have, again, a decrease in overall disk space. So that is how the infection works, infecting .com and .exes as it's loaded in memory. So let's go to the interesting part about Casino, which is the payload. Again, as I said, it's January, April, and August of the 15th of those months. And just to make it easy, we'll go ahead and just run Casino directly. And then it brings up this little thing, and I see I might be just a little too low on the camera. So it says, Disk Destroyer, a souvenir of Malta. I have just destroyed the fat on your disk. However, I have a copy in RAM, and I'm giving you a last chance to restore your precious data. And then it gives this nice warning message. If you reset now, all your data will be lost forever. Your data depends on a game of jackpot. Casino demelted jackpot. So this is basically the slot machine setup. And it is true to what it says. If you reset the computer now while your fat is stored in memory, then you're not going to be able to access the disk. Guarantee you that this actually does work. It does in fact corrupt the fat in such a way that it is not able to access any of your disk data, but it does it in kind of an interesting way, at least here on the 2011, so we'll see that. So there are three outcomes to Casino while we're talking here. About 65% of the time or so, you're going to lose the game, and of course all your data with that. 17% or so, you will be able to win the game, and it will effectively call you a bastard or something like that, and it will actually tell you to shut the computer down and leave it off till the next day, because then it will be outside its payload date. It would be like the 16th since it activates on the 15th. And then you could potentially do something with your data, because if you immediately reset even though your FAT's been restored, or power up the computer later that day, Casino might come up again, and with that 65% or so chance of losing your data, probably not a good idea to risk it. The other 17% or so chance is basically just a downright loss of the game. You see there that you have pound signs, which is for your disk, and you have question marks for supposedly the author's phone number. If you get those, what it ends up doing is it basically gives you an explicit message saying no way or something like that, and it's going to punish you for trying to get the virus person's phone number or something like that, and immediately terminates the game. All your chances are gone, and your FAT doesn't get restored. So that's a very quick way to lose the game if you get all question marks. So let's see what happens. So we got 5 chances here. So we didn't get it that time. No, didn't get it there. Nope. Nope. We have one more chance. Nope, we lost the game. It calls us an asshole and we've lost our data, and say goodbye to our balls. So, and it hangs the system here. So regardless if your FAT does get restored, or if you downright lose the game with the question marks, or like here where we lose all our chances, it hangs the system. We have no choice but to reset or power off the system. So now we're going to look at what it has done to the FAT since it has not been restored. So go ahead and restart here. Now we will have the flickering issue to deal with, so just bear with me on that. See if I can bring the monitor down so our camera iris doesn't go nuts. And let's try to look at the GUI for drive C. Oh no, disk is unformatted or bad. So as you see, we've lost all our data on partition C here on this little 30 megabyte hard disk. And if I go to the DOS prompt and try to look at it, and of course, as I say, we get the flickering, so you just have to put up with it. If I try to do any kind of command, it tells us invalid media type, reading drive C. Fail. So obviously we have nothing accessible on there, but let's go ahead and try to look at something like FDisk with the PS1 disk. Because this is the interesting thing I found about with how Casino at least destroys the FAT on here. You see, when I look at the partition information, it still shows a 30 megabyte partition there, drive C, and as you see from the GUI in DOS, yeah, we can access drive C, but drive C has lost its formatting data. So even though the partition is technically there, the DOS operating system is reporting it as unformatted or bad. It doesn't know basically the file system or anything about the disk, so your data is still basically gone. There's no way to restore it. So with that, that's pretty much how the Casino DOS virus works.